There is a time, especially when you're doing a juggling practice, when you look up at the sky and you realise it's going to be clear. After a month or so of not imaging anything because it's summertime and there's no astronomical darkness, you get out of the habit of rigging the telescope every time it's clear. And it's really good to get back into the routine of rigging the telescope. The question I have is though, what will I image tonight? There's still only about 2 hours of astronomical darkness. So I need to think about all of the big summer targets, the large nebulas, which are visible and will be visible for the next few months, so that I can gather enough data to do the targets justice. I think it's time to try something different, something challenging and something completely new to me. I think tonight I'm going to try and set up a mono imaging rig and try and gather some hydrogen alpha data on the Sadr region. Last year I imaged Andromeda just with R, G and B filters, and then I had a few problems with the filter wheel not centering the filters as it rotated, and it led to me working with Pegasus Astro, and they released a new version of firmware, which is still the current version of firmware for the filter wheel, and it seems to be performing really well. So I've assembled the filter wheel, put the camera chain together again, and I've set up the correct backspacing for the 533 mono camera, which I'm going to be using. And now it's just a question of rigging it outside and waiting for darkness. You forget just how many things need updating when you do astronomy. So this evening, the PC on the actual mount needed to be updated. You forget just how quickly technology moves forwards. Firstly, my VNC connection failed because I needed to move from VNC Home to VNC Lite, so I had to update all of my VNC servers and client machines. Then I had to update Nina because Nina had the latest version available, so I had to update that. And then the Pegasus Astro Unity platform had to be updated so that the latest ASCOM drivers were all available. The list goes on and on. You just forget, if you haven't imaged for a couple of weeks, the stuff that you do as routine, you completely forget how to do it, and everything becomes that much harder to do. Last night I imaged some of the Sadr region with the Altair 60 EDF doublet, which has a 0.8 times reducer. This takes the focal length to 288 millimeters, and I have the Pegasus Astro filter wheel, Pegasus Astro focuser on here as well, and my mono 533 camera, and the whole thing is riding on an EQ3 mount from Skywatcher. This is only the second time I've actually imaged with this setup, and it went relatively well because it's summertime here. We've only got 3 hours of astronomical darkness. Therefore, because I've not been imaging for a month or two, everything needed updating. So Nina needed updating, the Pegasus Astro Unity platform needed updating, literally everything, the whole lot, and it took about an hour to get everything configured, but it seemed to work. Unfortunately, it clouded over just as the meridian flip was to take place, and it couldn't plate solve. So I've lost about 20 minutes of imaging to about half an hour, but that's okay because I'm glad I came down just to check everything was working. I only took HA data, so only hydrogen data last night, so this is going to be a little bit of a project piece with this scope and this setup, but from what I could see, the images coming in were really good. My filters are just SV Bony 7 nanometer filters, simply because when you go mono, it's incredibly expensive to buy all of the different filters. So I went for a budget set of filters, and from the first subs that came in, they looked pretty good with hydrogen alpha. I can't speak for the rest yet, but they all looked pretty good. This is the hydrogen alpha data from the 533M. It looks really good. let's blink through the files. It went a bit mad halfway through because of the meridian flip, and then it obviously became dawn, so it goes very light. So let's have a quick look. And that's where I did the meridian flip and went a bit mad, and that's dawn. So that's the repeat just there. This data is really good. I'm really happy with this, and after I'd filtered through all of these and blinked them, I then combined it with flats, darks, bias, and it came up with this autosave file that we've got here. So let's have a look at the stretched result from this. There we go. This is the stacked HA from last night, and it looks really nice, really nice. This is also drizzled as well, so it's also been drizzled whilst it was being stacked. I just used Deep Sky Stacker for this for a quick and simple stacking. So the next step is to get some O2 and some S3 data as well, and then have a look at the three together and see where we get to. But as a first go with Hydrogen Alpha, I think that looks pretty good. Very pleased with how the evening went, even though I had slightly mad meridian flip. But this is the Hydrogen Alpha data from Sadr.